Have you ever hoped for a miracle? Maybe you faced a tough situation and wondered if something beyond you could change it. Ever think about how people in the Bible experienced their miracles and why they happened for them? Today, we're diving into a biblical approach on receiving miracles, a step-by-step guide drawn directly from the lives and stories of people in the Bible. We'll explore how their actions, faith, and trust in God opened the door to miraculous moments in their lives. Stick with me as we uncover specific Bible-based principles, each with practical steps that you can start applying today. And to make it real, we'll look at recent examples of miracles to show how these ancient principles still hold true. So if you've been waiting for a miracle, let's see what the Bible reveals about how they happen. In the Bible, miracles are extraordinary events that go beyond natural laws, showcasing God's power in ways that humans can't fully understand. These aren't just rare or impressive occurrences. They're acts of God that show His presence, power, and love in undeniable ways. Common types of miracles in the Bible. The Bible is filled with different kinds of miracles that met specific needs. Healing miracles, like Jesus healing the blind, show God's power over physical sickness. Provision miracles, like the feeding of the 5,000, reveal how God provides even when resources seem impossible. Protection miracles, like Daniel being saved in the lion's den, show God's ability to guard us from harm. And deliverance miracles, like the Israelites' escape from Egypt, reveal God's power to free His people from oppression. Many theologians believe miracles continue today because of God's unchanging nature. Hebrews 13:8 states, Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever. This verse reminds believers that if God performed miracles in the past, He is fully capable of doing so today, as His nature and power never change. Faith is one of the most emphasized principles in the Bible when it comes to experiencing miracles. In Matthew 17:20, Jesus says, "If you have faith as small as a mustard seed, nothing will be impossible for you." The mustard seed was known for being tiny, yet it could grow into something large and strong. Here, Jesus is teaching that it's not about the size of our faith, but its presence and consistency. Even a small amount of true faith can bring about the impossible when rooted in trust in God. This passage highlights that faith is the foundation upon which miracles happen, underscoring the need to believe in God's ability to work beyond what we can see or understand. One of the most moving examples of faith is the story of the woman with the issue of blood, found in Mark 5:25-34. This woman had been suffering from a bleeding condition for 12 years. She had exhausted her resources on treatments, yet nothing worked. But she believed that if she could just touch the edge of Jesus' robe, she would be healed. Her faith was so strong that she took a step forward despite the crowd and her condition, and when she touched His robe, she was immediately healed. Jesus turned to her, recognizing her faith, and said, "Daughter, your faith has healed you." Her story is a powerful reminder that faith, when placed in God, can overcome even the longest and most challenging of struggles. Faith isn't just a principle of the past, it's essential today for those who seek God's intervention in their lives. Having faith in God's power, even when we don't see immediate results, can be transformative. There are countless modern testimonies of people experiencing miracles through unshakable belief. For example, stories have been documented where individuals facing medical conditions found healing after trusting God through prayer and faith. Such testimonies aren't just coincidences, they're reminders that faith remains a conduit for miracles. In our daily lives, keeping a consistent belief, no matter the challenges, opens us to God's intervention in ways that might otherwise seem impossible. Faith becomes the bridge between our needs and God's miraculous work. Prayer is a powerful force in the Bible, often described as the key that unlocks miracles. James 5:16 states, "The prayer of a righteous person is powerful and effective." This passage reveals that prayer is more than just asking. It's about connecting with God, seeking His will, and opening the door for Him to work in our lives. In moments of need, fervent prayer, praying with deep, sincere intensity, is highlighted as a way to draw closer to God and invite His intervention. The Bible teaches that persistent, heartfelt prayer can move mountains, showing how God responds to those who reach out with genuine need and trust. One well-known example of fervent prayer leading to a miracle is the story of Elijah and the rain in 1 Kings 18:41-45. After a prolonged drought in Israel, Elijah prayed earnestly for rain. Even when there was no sign of rain initially, he continued praying, sending his servant to check the sky multiple times. On the seventh time, a small cloud appeared, which soon grew into a heavy rainstorm. Elijah's persistence in prayer, even when nothing seemed to be happening, shows the power of unwavering prayer. His faith and fervency were rewarded with a miracle that ended the drought, proving that persistence in prayer can bring extraordinary results. In today's world, fervent prayer remains a source of hope and strength for many people. Individuals facing overwhelming challenges, whether health issues, financial crises, or family troubles, often report experiencing breakthroughs after consistent, sincere prayer. Documented accounts exist of people praying earnestly for months or even years before witnessing a miraculous change in their circumstances. These stories underscore the power of staying connected to God through dedicated prayer, especially during trials. By approaching God with faith-filled persistence, we invite Him to work beyond our human limits, trusting that He hears and responds in His timing. In the Bible, obedience is portrayed as a fundamental way to receive God's blessings. When we obey God, we show our trust in His wisdom and open ourselves to His guidance and power. Obedience isn't just about following rules. It's about aligning our lives with God's purpose and trusting His directions, even when they don't make sense to us. By walking in obedience, we create a path for God to work in our lives, allowing His will to unfold in ways we might not expect. One powerful example of obedience leading to a miracle is the story of Naaman in 2 Kings 5:1-14. Naaman, a respected army commander, suffered from leprosy and sought healing. When he approached the prophet Elisha, he was told to wash himself 7 times in the Jordan River to be healed. Initially, Naaman was skeptical and even offended by the simplicity of the instructions. However, when he finally humbled himself and obeyed, he was completely healed of his leprosy. Naaman's story illustrates that sometimes obedience requires humility and trust in God's seemingly simple or unusual directions. His healing was only possible because he followed God's instruction, even when it didn't align with his own expectations. In today's world, obedience to God might look like following His guidance in our decisions, relationships, and actions, even when they challenge our preferences or understanding. Practically, this could mean forgiving someone when we don't feel like it, being honest even when it's inconvenient, or following a path we sense God leading us toward despite uncertainties. Trusting in God's instructions opens doors for His intervention, as obedience aligns us with His will, making us receptive to His power. By living in obedience, we invite God's blessings, as He honors those who seek to walk in His ways. The Bible often highlights gratitude and praise as essential attitudes for those seeking God's blessings. Philippians 4:6-7 encourages believers to present their request to God with thanksgiving. This means that even before seeing an answer, expressing gratitude is a powerful act of faith. Gratitude isn't just about saying thank you for what we already have. It's about showing trust that God is at work, even if we don't see it yet. Praise and gratitude shift our focus from our problems to God's ability to provide, creating an atmosphere where miracles can take place. A memorable example of gratitude leading to a miracle is the story of Jesus feeding the 5,000 in John 6:11-13. Faced with a crowd of thousands and only a small amount of food, 5 loaves and 2 fish, Jesus gave thanks before distributing the food. Instead of focusing on what was lacking, He expressed gratitude for what was there. As a result, the small amount of food multiplied, feeding everyone with leftovers to spare. Jesus demonstrated that gratitude, even in a situation that seemed impossible, can bring about miraculous outcomes. In today's world, numerous stories exist of individuals who experienced breakthroughs after choosing gratitude over worry. Some people, in the face of financial difficulties, health crises, or personal struggles, have reported finding peace, solutions, and even unexpected provision after turning to praise and thanksgiving. By cultivating a thankful heart, we can experience a sense of peace that often opens the door for God's intervention. Gratitude changes our perspective, reminding us that God is greater than our challenges and that His provision is limitless. Understanding that miracles still happen today can be a source of hope and inspiration. It reassures us that God's power isn't limited to ancient times, but is active and present in our lives today. Believing in modern miracles encourages us to apply the same principles of faith, prayer, obedience, and gratitude, trusting that God is still working in extraordinary ways. There are well-documented stories of miracles that align with biblical principles and have been shared widely. For example, medical professionals have recorded instances where patients, despite having been diagnosed with terminal illnesses, experienced sudden, unexplainable recoveries. In some of these cases, patients report that they or their loved ones prayed fervently and held on to faith, aligning with the biblical principle of trusting God in times of need. Other accounts tell of people in life-threatening situations who found unexpected protection or deliverance, crediting God's intervention after intense prayer and faith. These stories remind us that the principles laid out in the Bible, faith, prayer, obedience, and gratitude, aren't outdated. They're timeless. They show that God responds to those who seek Him with a sincere heart. Viewers are encouraged to hold on to hope, apply these biblical principles, and believe that God can work miracles in their lives just as He has for countless others.